Hi, my name is Martin Persson, and in this brief video lecture, I will introduce the concepts of strong and weak sustainability and how it relates to the concept of sustainable development. Sustainable development is often defined as a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. A key question here is how important is the environment or natural capital for realizing a sustainable development? And strong and weak sustainability are two different ways of answering this question. So strong sustainability argues that natural capital is very important for the welfare and well-being of future generations. And therefore, if we are to have a sustainable development, neither natural nor man-made capital must decline over time. Proponents of weak sustainability, on the other hand, argue that there is nothing inherently important in natural capital. It can be replaced or substituted, for example, by man-made capital. What's important then for future generations is that the sum of natural and man-made capital does not decline over time if we are to have a sustainable development. So the key difference between the proponents of strong and weak sustainability is their views on the issue of substitutability, the possibility to replace natural capital with man-made capital. It's important to recognize that the substitutability of natural capital is not something that is static but can change over time. And my favorite illustration of this point comes from the small island of Visingsö in Lake Vättern in Sweden. So this island today contains vast oak forest, and these were planted in the early 1800s. And the reason they were planted was that Sweden had lost control of an area in northern Germany called Pomerania that contained large oak forests that were used to supply lumber for the Swedish Navy for building warships. When Sweden lost control of Pomerania, the king ordered the planting of these oak forests on Visingsö in order to make sure that future generations also had lumber for building warships. So in the 1970s, the Navy got word that now their lumber was ready for delivery. Of course, one or two things had happened with shipbuilding technology in the intervening 150 years, and not quite naturally, the Navy declined the offer to use this oak lumber for building ships. On the other hand, these oak forests have shown to be very attractive for other reasons. People go there for bird watching or just watching the nice environment. And this shows how difficult it is to predict what natural capital future generations will need, because the substitutability of natural capital can change over time as technology change and as people's preferences change. Since it's impossible to predict how substitutability of natural capital will change over time and how dependent future generations will be on our protection of the natural environment, views on strong versus weak sustainability falls back on some sort of belief in how high or how low the substitutability of natural capital is. Another reason, though, for differences in views concerning weak and strong sustainability also relates to environmental ethics. So in weak sustainability, nature only has an instrumental value. It only has a value in that it gives us humans some sort of benefits. That might also be the case for proponents of strong sustainability, but they argue that that role of nature in our well-being is very important. But another reason for holding a strong sustainability position might be that you argue that nature has some sort of final value, and hence it cannot, by definition, be substituted by man-made capital. You can read more about the concepts of strong versus weak sustainability and the concept of substitutability in Chapter 3 of our textbook, Sustainable Development, Nuances and Perspectives.